fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale Trust as well as some moves that we made recently. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so the markets unfortunately did have another down day. I posted to you guys on X that I think that we're pretty much at the bottom or near the bottom. Could we go a little bit lower? Yeah, maybe. It's possible. This was obviously the crash right here, and then we kind of came back up, retested, looking like potentially a nice little double bottom here. We'll have to wait and see on this one. Before I go any further, I did also want to bring up that the Fed's preferred measure of inflation is coming out tomorrow morning, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one, see how that goes. Where is it? So PCE right here. Prior was 2.3. It's expected it's going to be 2.5. I don't really have much to say about the PCE here and what I think it's going to be. What I will tell you guys is this. 2.5% is a lot closer to 2% than where it used to be. I will also say that in terms of what the Fed said yesterday, or what Powell said yesterday about the whole rate decision thing, like they gave the cut, but then they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry guys, we're only going to do 2 cuts next year instead of 4." I heard something that was interesting, and it kind of made me take a different perspective on it. I heard somebody say that the longer the Fed takes to cut the rates, the longer the bull market can last, meaning it could go on for much longer. I do actually think that's okay. I don't really have a problem with that. However, I will say that I'm still willing to bet my money on the fact that Trump's probably going to come in next month, January 20th, and he's going to have the Fed really start cutting rates, okay? Personally, I don't really care. I'm not really picky whether they want to go slow. Do I think they should go slow? No, I think it's kind of a stupid decision. I think that Trump will fix all the outliers that have to deal with inflation once he gets in. That's obviously what, Trump's campaign has been all about, right? Fixing the problems that the country has. But I think regardless, either way, I personally don't really care. I would prefer that they would cut rates faster, but if they cut them slower, as long as the economy still goes strong, unemployment remains low, there is no market crash, and asset prices continue to climb, I don't really care personally which path they choose to take, okay? I'm just throwing out there for you guys what I think is going to happen, but personal preference, I don't care. Okay, as long as the markets continue to climb, that's all that matters to me, right? That's what we care about as investors, is making bank. We don't really care how it happens. We only care that it happens, right? Okay, so next thing I want to go over here is, where was it? So I wanted to show you guys this real quick before we go into the positions, then we'll go into the trusts. So this is something we only talk about once a month in the macro videos, but I feel like it's pretty important to bring up now. So this sell-off that we just had in the last few weeks here has been absolutely ridiculous on the stocks above the 50-day moving average for the S&P and the NASDAQ. I'm not going to lie to y'all, this is pretty ugly, okay? It's ugly, really ugly. But here's what I'll say about it, okay? I want you guys to take a notice at the last 2 times that we got these reads. The last time was in April of 2024. Obviously, we had like a slight scare in August, although that was bought up pretty quick, right? So it's not going to show here. But the last major dump that we had on this chart was in April, and then in October before that, okay? So I also want to point this out on the NASDAQ as well. Last time we got down to these levels was, well, in this case, it was in August on the NASDAQ, and then we had one in April, and we had one in October last year, okay? Let's see here. Where's the other 2? So yeah, these are not looking as bad. So you got obviously your September, August, right? Last time we had a major, so we had this one here in April. This one we currently see is a little bit lower than April, but the last time we kind of got down into these areas was in the August, September, and then all the way back into the previous year. And as for the S&P, you guys can see the last time we even got close to that level was in October of 2023. So I want to point this out to you, okay? So I want you guys to try to keep things in perspective here. And again, is this a guarantee that it can't go lower? No, I'm not saying that there's a possibility it couldn't go lower. I'm just what I'm trying to pinpoint here is that I think likely we're probably pretty close to a bottom, if not at the bottom, for multiple reasons. Okay. Again, we're in bullish seasonality. Markets should theoretically keep going up through the end of the year and into next month in February and all that jazz. Plus, you got Trump coming in office, the Fed's cutting rates, so on and so on. But on the S&P chart here, I wanted to show you guys that the last time we had a major move down on the stocks above the 50 was pretty much, well, we had that flash crash in August, but I'm more so looking at April here and then October, right? And what did we see afterwards? We saw a huge rally each time, okay? Same thing with the NASDAQ. So yeah, obviously that was the flash crash, but then I'm looking at this April and October, and we literally saw a rally after that. Okay, and as for the NASDAQ, yeah, okay, it's kind of a hideous pullback, but we're really just coming back to retest the top of this ascending triangle, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's pretty textbook, if you ask me. So anyways, with that being said, let's get into the trusts here. And as for crypto, I think crypto will do just fine. I think it'll keep going up. I'm not too concerned about it. Based on historical data in Bitcoin, there is usually some kind of pullback. At least we saw last cycle right around January timeframe. So it's possible we may even be getting that early, and then January could just be all green. Okay, that could be the case. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so LTCN, it pulled back into the channel. Whether it actually stays in the channel or not, well, I think that kind of depends on PCE tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. So as of right now, the buy zone on here 13 to 15. I forgot about the positions. Let me show you that real quick. So 27 to 55. The native ones I won't actually be able to show you today. So 252% gain. We'll have to go over that this weekend. But here's what I'll say. Okay, we cashed out Horizon completely and got out of about a couple $1,000s of Filecoin. So we cashed out about $5,000. We may put the money back in there a little bit later. But if Bitcoin is going to pull back more, we want to make sure we have capital on the side to be able to buy it, assuming that Bitcoin does get down here into this level that we talked about, 87 to 92,000. Whether that happens or not, we want to have some capital on the side just in case. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys here is that we have actually bought even more CLSK. You're probably like, dude, you're out of your mind. What the hell are you doing? Look, I'm just going to tell you guys the same thing I told you before, okay? The miners' earnings are coming up in Q1, okay? Wall Street knows that the price of Bitcoin during Q4, the quarter before the earnings, was sitting at $90,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 per Bitcoin, okay? They know this. So it's probably going to go up on earnings, and there's a chance that these miners are probably also going to go up into earnings, okay? Why? Because they want to get in at low prices like what we're seeing right now and then mark the price up going into earnings. A lot of times that is how it happens. As a matter of fact, NVIDIA is a good example of this. If you don't believe me, go back and look at the chart of NVIDIA. I mean, it's literally, as a matter of fact, you know what? Since we're on here, I'll just show you guys right now so you can see what I mean when I say that Wall Street likes to mark these things up into earnings. Again, I would have to scroll back here to the daily time frame for you to really truly understand this. Okay, so we got the earnings here, right? Like, for example, right here. Okay, obviously it really popped off after that, but I want you to take notice of this, okay? So we got this gap up on this earnings right here. And if I measure this out going in time, you guys can see before the following earnings even took place, the price of NVIDIA went up a whopping 28%, okay? From one earnings to the next, the price went from the price that it was at that earnings date to 28% higher. And then from this one, obviously from this earnings right here, if I'm just including this first gap up, to basically where the price was sitting right before the earnings, albeit we saw a dump after this, but then NVIDIA went higher. The point I want to make here is from earnings to earnings, there was a market phase in between where it went up about 28%. So you guys can kind of see what I'm getting at here, right? I'm expecting something very similar, not just for CLSK, but for all of the miners, because they're probably all going to be in profit. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So, anyways, we got another 100 shares here. Average price $15.11, 1,450 shares. I mean, the reality is, every single time that we've had a position, every single time without fail, when it dropped in price, it eventually went back up. Okay, my guess is throughout the market as a whole, 99.9% of the times, that's probably what's going to happen. Okay, it may take a little bit longer than usual, unfortunately, but eventually it's probably going to happen. And we still have a whole another year of the crypto bull run ahead of us, so there is that. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about that. So, anyways, BCHG. Let's go ahead and talk about this one real quick. Go back over to the weekly chart. So it's not really looking pretty on BCHG, but again, if you're looking for another buying opportunity, here it is. So I'd say probably about 510 to 580. The bull market that we're in is obviously kind of off to a rocky start, being a little bit tricky, but you guys got to remember something, okay? When it comes to the markets, history often rhymes, but it doesn't necessarily repeat. So this cycle is probably not going to be exactly like 2021 or 2017. But I do suspect it's still going to be pretty good. I would not be shocked if starting next month, going forward past once Trump gets in office, the prices of all of these crypto assets just get absolutely stupid in the coming months. It could even happen before he gets in office because, again, the markup phase, right? Everybody knows Trump's going to be in there on the 20th. So maybe starting from the start of the year, they start marking up the markets. That would not be shocking to me at all. Okay, so BCHG 1270 to about 24 here. Measured move, about 330% gain. And again, excuse me, I do also want to point this out for you guys to keep it in context. It's really just this thing on BCHG really is just one massive sideways move. Okay, it's mainly just, in my opinion, accumulation. I say it's accumulation because, I mean, really, at the low it was at 52 cents and at the high it was at $60. So, I mean, let's try to put this into context, okay? So the downside move, yeah, okay, sure, 95%. Is that going to happen before the end of the bull run? Probably not, would be my guess. Obviously not a guarantee, but usually crypto doesn't just crypto operates on cycles. Okay, it doesn't just out of nowhere just decide, oh yeah, we're just going to cancel the bull run a year early. That would be ridiculous. It's never happened in crypto's history. Okay, so 95% downside compared to the 942% upside. So I just want to point that out for you guys. This looks like accumulation to me. It's an inverse head and shoulders. It's not the prettiest one, but still it is what it is with a target of roughly about $14. HZEN, so nice little retest structure, kind of what I figured was going to happen here. So about $5 on this one. And then the targets up here roughly about 820 to 1230. Do keep in mind HZEN, I think the all-time high for this one was like 30 or $40. BCHG was 60 and LTCN 510. 145% move here. ETCG. I mean, it's on structure right now. We'll just have to wait and see how this goes. But if you think it's not going to hold here, I think it's going to hold here. But if you think it's not going to hold here, then maybe somewhere between 11.30 to roughly about the current price at 13, with a target all the way up here at 20. It's about 78% gain. ETH, so we're going to retest the EMAs. I'd say anywhere at the EMAs is a good area to buy because, again, you have to understand how the EMAs work. Usually when you get when you get a breakout and a golden cross on the EMAs, it retests the EMAs and then climbs and retests, climbs and retests, climbs and retests until the trend is over. So in this case, this would be our first retest since the breakout. Okay, so you got 23.80 to 28.30, somewhere in that range. Target would be up here at 53. That's the cup and handle target. Yeah, let me redo that real quick. I just screwed that up. Okay, so 126% gain, GBAT. So sitting on the EMAs, this one's kind of curious. I don't like these candles up here. I'll just be honest with y'all. So I'd say maybe anywhere between 4.25 to pretty much the current price, good buy zones. 4.25 to about 720, something like that. 32 for the target for the all-time highs, so about 590% gain. And you guys might be like, "Oh well, good. I gotta buy these things at $4 a share." Are you kidding me? I mean, guys, we're buying CLSK at $12 a share. This thing is cheaper than CLSK, so I don't. I mean, we would buy things like FEPI and AIPI at $50 a share. So I don't know what the reason would be to complain. I'm not saying you guys are complaining, but I'm just saying, like, obviously you can buy more of something when it costs less to buy it, right? It's kind of like like Black Friday, for example. The stuff that would normally be expensive all of a sudden goes on sale and you get it for cheap. So your purchasing power goes further, right? You get more bang for your buck. It's pretty much what we're looking at here. Okay, so 59 to 65 on FILG, which pretty much is just about where it's sitting. So 400% or $400 for the all-time high here, with a measured move of roughly about 500%, 475 to 500%, somewhere in there. Okay, GLIV sitting perfectly on the buy zone here, so 12 to 15. I think the Fed probably came out and said a little too much yesterday. That's just my opinion. 565% gain here. I'll tell you guys the same thing I told you yesterday. Okay, my mindset about this has not changed. I think it was politically motivated. I do. I think it was politically charged. I think that the markets got spooked and freaked out, and they're kind of missing the vision here that next month all this crap is going to change, and we won't have to worry about some salty administration. Sorry if I triggered a few people here. Some salty administration coming out and trying to screw with the future president of the United States just because they think it's funny or because they're salty about something or whatever the case may be. Okay, a lot of the Democrats were pretty pissed off that Kamala lost. It's understandable, but the reality is the people want to change. Okay, and I'm not speaking for the people. Okay, I'm just saying that obviously based on the results of the election, it is what it is, right? Okay, so G-Link buy zone here is 70 to 86. The target all the way up here at 220 for about 200% gain. GSOL, this thing is still not looking pretty. So maybe somewhere between 16 to 23, $24 a share as a potential buy. 115 would be the target in this case. So about 650% gain here at GXLM. This one's actually holding up nicely. This was one of the few that was actually green on the day. Wow. Okay, so same as before, 36 to 40 is what I'd be looking at targets, 74 to about 96 on this one. And then once it breaks 96, I mean, sky's the limit. You're talking price discovery at that point. So 160% gain here at Mana. So it has cracked the EMAs, at least on the daily time frame. This could always change tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. I'll just say right now, anywhere between maybe 10 up to the EMA. So roughly about 10 to 15 bucks, somewhere in there could be a good buy area because, again, we don't know if it's actually going to go lower tomorrow or not yet because the markets are not open until basically whatever your respective time zone is, right? For me, it would be roughly about 6:30 in the morning. Okay, so 70 bucks for the all-time highs. So about 540% gain here. Zcash, we're getting a nice little wick off the EMAs. That's always a good sign. That means that some people want to go in there and buy. If you guys are wondering what that means on the candle, basically a wick at the bottom of the candle, any kind of wick, if it's noticeable, means that there's some kind of buying pressure there. Okay, so same thing as Mana. We don't yet know if this is going to close below the structure zone yet. We'll have to wait and see. So as of right now, somewhere between $4.30 to $6, in my opinion, not financial advice, would be a good buying opportunity. 14 to 17 would be the target because obviously, if you're in these, you probably want to make as much cheddar, as much alpha as you can, right? So about 300% gain, so not too shabby, right? Okay, anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.